We're here in Chicago at the Morningstar Conference with Bill Bernstein, who is the author of many books on investing and history, and just an all-around insightful guy, and we're big fans at MoneyWatch of your thinking. Today you are speaking about retirement income. And often in this yield-starved world with very low savings rates and bond rates, retirees are thinking that they just can't get the interest that they need to survive. You think they ought to be looking at that in a slightly different way?
Yeah, I think they need to be looking at things not in terms of income, but in terms of total return. If your stock fund is up an average of 8% a year, what does it matter whether 3% of that is dividend and 5% of that is capital appreciation, or if it's all capital appreciation, or if it all comes from dividends? I mean, those get treated the same from the point of view of taxation, and it really doesn't matter where your return comes from. If you're looking for return these days from income, you're not going to get it.
And what are some other investments? You mentioned stocks. 8% would be nice. I hope we can get that kind of return. What are some other investments that retirees ought to be looking at to diversify their portfolio?
Well, the very first thing that any retiree should be doing is spending down their assets so they can take Social Security at age 70. That is, in an actuarial sense, probably the most profitable move that you can make in terms of getting a return and also insuring yourself against living too long. Beyond that,
Just to be clear, you're saying they should make sure they wait until age 70 to dip into Social Security, or to start taking Social Security, excuse me.
That's right, yeah.
And because the payout will be much higher.
Yeah, the payout it's close to being astronomical. You can't get that kind of payout from an insurance company on an immediate annuity, and you're probably not going to get it from the capital markets as well. Once you've maxed out that benefit, if you will, then a prudent portfolio of stocks and fixed income instruments. I tend to look at fixed income as a ballast so that you can sleep at night, and I think that reaching for yield by going out and going to longer duration or taking credit risk with lower rated bonds, corporate bonds, junk bonds, is a mistake. Usually you wind up paying for that in the end.
And are there any other investments? You mentioned annuities. Do you think that ought to be part of a retiree's portfolio?
I think that a single premium fixed annuity starting at age 70 or 75 for many people is a wise move because it insures themselves against living too long.
And unfortunately, retirees are sometimes sold, they don't buy them, they're sold variable annuities. I presume you think that's not a good idea. You've emphasized fixed immediate.
You have to be careful with the insurance industry. It's the largest repository of criminal activity in this country.
I guess that says you don't like variable annuities.
No, not very much. I think there are certain situations where a variable annuity does make sense, but for 99.9% of people, no, it doesn't.
Any other investments retirees ought to be thinking about?
Well, stocks, bonds, cash, annuities, deferring Social Security, I think that pretty well covers the ground.
Pretty good portfolio. Bill, thanks very much.
My pleasure.